is not on your side. It's really nice to have you here. So if you have any technical difficulty, I just want to let you know that on the chat function on your right, you'll see two sets of initial, TG and EK. TG is Stephanie Grant and EK is Erin Carden. These are our fantastic colleagues from enrollment management. And you can text them at any time if you have any technical difficulties, if you can hear or if you have a hard time logging on. Actually, you have to log on to chat, in which case I would email them. But feel free to chat with them. Once I start my PowerPoint especially, I will have no access to the chat for the time that I share my screen and I show you the PowerPoint. And so I really won't be able to see your questions at that point, but they'll be happy to help you with any technical difficulties. So that said, I will get started. So I'll first introduce myself. My name is Eleonora Bartoli. I am the director of our fantastic graduate program in counseling. I've been here for 11 years. I love my job and I love what we do. As faculty, we tend to stay and not go, which I think is always a good sign. I'm also the coordinator of our trauma concentration, and I teach 3 courses in the program. I teach the main theories and technique course that you'll take very early in the program, probably in your first year. And I also teach 2 of the core courses in the trauma concentrations, evidence-based treatment of trauma and trauma advocacy and social justice. So what you can expect in this hour is that in the first 20 minutes or so, I'll try not to be too long-winded. I'm a professor, so I tend to speak too much, but for the first 20 minutes or so, I will describe the program and tell you a little bit about the profession and who we are and how we fit it. And then there'll be plenty of time for questions and answers. You can ask questions by the chat, using the chat function. If some of you want to speak out your questions because it would be too long to type them out, feel free to do so. The only caveat is that we are recording the session, so your voice will be recorded. But other than that, feel free to use the chat function. I will read your text and answer your questions. So very quickly, any questions about that before I move on? No? All good? All right, so I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to start the PowerPoint. So at this point, you should not see me anymore, but you should be seeing the PowerPoint. Okay. So welcome to Arcadia University Counseling Program, and as our slogan says, best practices, heart, and justice. And I really hope that by the end of this presentation, you'll have a much better sense of what we mean by that. But we truly hope to bring the absolute most up-to-date best practices that are in the field to what we teach our students. We also are very client-centered and student-centered, so we bring a lot of heart and a lot of focus on the therapeutic relationship and our collaboration with students. So that's where the heart comes from. And we also have very strong focus on multicultural counseling and social justice. So that's very central to what we do as well. So I will now tell you a little bit more about how we actually do that. So why does anybody want to enter the field of counseling? And so I want to give you a sense of really what brings many of us to dedicate our lives to the counseling profession. So what is the beauty and power of what we do in counseling? And really the beauty and power is that we allow clients to achieve their highest potential. And there are lots of reasons why many of us at times in our lives struggle to achieve our highest potential. Oftentimes we tend to not believe in ourselves and what we can do. We can't see the strength that maybe sometimes our friends and family see in us, but we can't recognize them. There might be some anxiety or depression that really doesn't allow us to thrive in life as much as we could. Or maybe we've had some experiences that really make us shy away from the good things that life has to offer, make us shy away from relationships or opportunities. So the beauty and power of the counseling profession is that you, in fact, can be the person to make that difference for someone, to actually enable them to reach their highest potential, to really come back to themselves and be the best they can be. I will tell you that counseling is a truly profoundly rewarding work. I am always so delighted to know that there are folks like you that are interested in jumping in. It's a wonderful path, and we need really wonderful people to come in and help out. It's certainly not an area where there's a shortage or need. So welcome to this enterprise, or considering this enterprise. So counselors perform a number of functions and work in a number of ways. They very often work in mental health agencies. Sometimes they work in hospitals, maybe somewhat less frequently, but they might. Oftentimes they end up working in private practices, seeing clients sort of on their own, in their own offices. They might work in schools. School counselors do a great job of following students and really connecting them to resources. School counselors don't do counseling per se. And so oftentimes are licensed professional counselors or social workers who come in and do work in schools. They also do work in non-for-profit organizations, colleges and universities. So there's any number of settings that counselors work, and it's a very varied and rich in terms of a range of functions that counselors have. So what might you do, in fact, as a counselor? Most people think of counseling as offering individual therapy or couples or family or group therapy, and that's certainly much of what you'll be trained in. Sometimes people ask me what the difference is between the various mental health professions, and we can certainly talk about more about that in your Q&A if you have questions about that. But really, licensed professional counselors are probably the most thoroughly trained mental health professionals at the master's level when it comes to individual, couples, family, or group therapy. You might also, however, act as a consultant. Often you'll have multiple functions. You'll not just be doing one thing, but multiple things. You might work in schools, in agencies, as a consultant or other settings. You will probably also become a client advocate. You will, chances are, do some prevention work and psychoeducation. You will probably, although it might be hard to think of this from the vantage point or even considering entering a program, but you might manage, train, or supervise future counselors. So you'll be, chances are you'll be in charge of folks who are sort of who you are now in your position, but you'll be actually offering your wisdom and expertise at some point to others. And again, you might work in a variety of roles really that benefit from counseling skills. That could be family court kind of work, again, non-for-profit kind of work, public health settings. You know, the skills you're going to learn are not only going to fit straightforward some of the things you do in counseling, but they're very highly sought out and transferable skills. So how do you become a licensed professional counselor? Well, every state has their own regulations, and Pennsylvania is always interesting, as it often is when it comes to policies. So in Pennsylvania, you need a total of 60 credits. However, they require that only 48 of them be in a master's program. Now, you can do all 60 credits in a master's program, but you have to have at least a master's of 48 credits to be able to apply. That usually involves between 2 and 3 years of academic coursework, and that depends on how full-time or part-time you might be, and then it depends on which program you access and how that program is structured. Past your 48 credits and often past your graduation at the master's level, you also need 3,000 hours of supervised experience. That usually takes about 2 years. They want you to have a couple of years after you end school of experience before you become licensed. And then you pass that licensing exam, which you can really pass anytime after you graduate. Or if you come to our program, I'll tell you that you can take it while you're in the program, and then you become licensed. So how does the Arcadia Counseling Program meet those Pennsylvania licensure? We have a mental health counseling master's program, which absolutely leads to licensure as an LPC in Pennsylvania. We have both 48 and 60 credit options. Usually students who come to our program for the most part choose one of our 60 credit options. I'll tell you, we have multiple areas that you can specialize in. And the reason for that is once you enter a program, it's nice to have the continuity. And because we offer quite a bit of electives and specializations, usually folks would like to finish some of those before they move on. But if you're coming in with a lot of credits from another school, for example, with credits from a different institution at the master's level, and not all of them would be really able to be transferable to the degree, if you get a 48 credit, then that will maximize the chances of of using other credits. And we can certainly talk more about what would be a best fit for you. We have both part-time and full-time options. The good news is that so I would say part-time is 3 to 6 credits, and then 9 to 12 credits is full-time. So 1 to 2 courses is part-time, 3 to 4 courses is full-time. We have about half of our students who go full-time, about half that go part-time. The good news, as I was saying, is that you're going to pay by the credit. So the program doesn't cost you really anymore on the basis of how long it takes. It's no longer like undergraduate that you're paying by the semester. You're really paying by the credit. So you're going to pay only for the courses that you take, no matter how many you take at once. We also do have summer courses. So you'll be going to school mostly year-round, just to maximize time. You can also probably take a summer off and take both courses in the second summer. So it depends really on your schedule. And then, as I mentioned briefly before, you can take the NCE, which is a national counselor exam, which is one of the exams that Pennsylvania accepts for licensure, and you can take it before graduation. We are affiliated with NBCC, who allows us to offer it to you if you have come through our program before you graduate. So I think there are several things that make our program unique, but I would say one of the things that I think makes us quite unique is the amount of concentrations that we offer. I don't know of any other program that offers quite as many concentrations in one setting, and that's really exciting for us. And really, part of the advantage, the beauty to me in working at Arcadia is that it's a small enough place that allows us to have a lot of strong relationships with other departments. So some of the concentrations that I'm going to describe to you are offered directly within our department, and other ones are offered in collaboration with other departments. So we have concentrations in applied behavior analysis and autism. Those are offered in collaboration with our School of Education. So they're offered there, and they're actual certificate programs. So if you do either of those concentration, you'll get a certificate in that area. We also offer 3 concentrations within our department. There's a child and family therapy, trauma, and then mental health counseling. And those are the child and family therapy and trauma also lead to a certificate. The mental health counseling is sort of an umbrella master's program that really has, rather than your electives being taken mostly by concentration, has open electives that allow you to pick and choose and get a taste of a number of areas that you want to accrue some experience in. And then we have a concentration in community public health. That is in collaboration with our public health department. And that's really for folks who are interested in maybe program evaluation or advocacy or psychoeducation. And there are lots of reasons why that's really helpful and a good complementary training for counselors. And then finally, we have 2 dual degree programs, which means you're actually getting 2 master's programs. And we have them with 2 departments, with IPCR, which is International Peace and Conflict Resolution, and also with the Public Health Department with an MPH. So we have 6 concentrations, and we have 2 dual degree programs. You do not have to choose what you would like to do before coming. That's the beauty of it. You can start and think that you might be interested in something, and then you can also later on realize that your interest really sits with a different area, and then move into concentrating in a different area. The other thing that I just want to say before we move on from this slide is that you really can combine concentrations. For example, the one that most people combine, I should say, is a child and family therapy and trauma. Each one of them requires 3 mandatory courses and leaves 2 electives. So the other concentration can be function as the electives in the one in the other one, so to speak. So really for 63 credits, so for just 1 extra course than the 60 credit degree would require, you get 2 certificates and 2 concentrations. Regardless of concentrations, everybody's going to take core courses in these areas. So everybody has going to have a very comprehensive training in what we feel are some of the core areas that are needed for you to be well trained as a counselor, but also these are areas that are needed for licensure per se. So you're going to learn about assessment tools, both in terms of assessing clients as they come into treatment and also how to monitor their progress over time. You're going to have a number of courses around clinical interventions, both at the individual and group level. And of course, if you specialize in child and family, you're also going to have training in family or couples or working with children and adolescents. Then we have, of course, in career counseling, you're going to learn to diagnose. You're going to learn how to look at research and really understand how to extract what you need to implement in a very practical way with your clients. So really, you're going to learn to translate up-to-date research into your current practice, which is a wonderful never-ending journey and really what keeps the field fresh and up to date. You're also going to learn about human development and really learn about how human beings thrive. And so how do you support your clients to thrive throughout the lifespan. As I mentioned before, in terms of best practices, we are a very evidence-based program. So you're going to learn and apply the best and the most recent techniques that the field has to offer. And so I always say the program you enter is not the program you exit. And that's partly because we evolved as the field evolves. And so you'll see us always constantly updating what we have. You, of course, will learn about professional ethics and what it takes for you to give the best of you and the best of the field to your client. We also have a very elaborate multicultural curriculum, which I'll talk to you in a few minutes. But we also offer a training in multicultural counseling. And then, of course, it's a very applied program. So the program itself involves both a practicum and an internship. The practicum is 100 hours. The internship is 600 hours. You'll do your practicum very early on so that you'll really have a good sense of how the field works and getting some practical experience very early on. And then you'll complete your program in your last year with an internship where everything you've learned and everything you have spent so many hours studying will be put in practice, and your confidence will skyrocket throughout the year. It's always wonderful to see students at that stage of their experience. And then, of course, we have elective courses. So depending on your concentration, you may have one or more elective courses available to you. You can see here the list of some of them. I'm not going to read through it. I know you can sort of browse through it quickly. And the good news is that, let's say you don't see once you come to our program, you may not see a course that you would like to take in our program, but you can see something offered by a different department that really sparks your interest and you feel it would be wonderful complementary training. You can always petition, and it's a fairly easy process. It's a very internal, easy process to potentially take a course in a different department across campus that really benefits your education. So what makes us unique? I already said that one of the things that makes us unique is the number of concentrations that we offer. I would say another thing that really makes us unique is that we have this curriculum that doesn't just appear in one course, but appears developmentally throughout the program. And so there are certain things that we want you to learn, but you can't really learn them in a 15 weeks course. You need some sequential experiences that build upon each other. And the beauty of it is that we've been able to create these modules. They go from the beginning of your program to the end. And once as you go through them, you'll have more and more the ability to integrate what you're learning and have each step build on each other. But we don't force that growth again in 15 weeks, but we give you the time to really advance in that way throughout the program. So we have 4 such curricula. We have a career development integrated curriculum, evidence-based practices integrated curriculum, multicultural counseling integrated curriculum, and self-care. So I'll just say a couple of words about each. I don't want to, take too much of your time at this point, but if you have more questions, this is another area that you can feel free to ask me questions. So career development, it really is how do we take you from training you as a counselor to actually become, be able to market yourself successfully and obtain the job of your dreams, right? So you can be the best counselor that you are, and at the same time you have to let people know that you are and show them that you can do it. So the career development process, it's really both to make sure that you get the most out of the program, not just the program, but opportunities that intersect with the program. And also, it involves a number of activities and experiences that help you craft strong resumes, a strong identity, and a strong way of marketing yourself as you're jumping off and actually seeking employment outside of the program. As I mentioned before, we also feel very strongly that we want to teach you the best and most advanced and up-to-date practices in the field. And so we have a very comprehensive evidence-based practice curriculum. We all know exactly what kinds of techniques everybody's going to graduate with, what kinds of protocols they're going to become familiar with, what kinds of concepts everyone has. And so you'll know that by the end of it, you really have the competencies necessary to thrive in the field. The most unique part of probably of these 4 curricula is the multicultural counseling one. Most programs, I think, usually have one multicultural course that covers all areas of multicultural counseling. We have certainly one course that is one aspect of it, but we also have 2 sets of labs that we offer in connection with some courses. One is a self-awareness lab, one is a multicultural knowledge lab, and we also have a skills curriculum that spans 3 courses where you're going to learn specific multicultural counseling skills. So I would say that I generally tell students by the end of when they enter the program, you'll be more multicultural trained than most of your supervisors. And I remember one year we invited some alumni back, and somebody asked, what was the most surprising thing that you had after you graduated from the program? And one of the alumni said, they told us it would be more trained multiculturally than our supervisor, but oh my goodness, we're more trained multiculturally than our supervisors. So that's very exciting for us to know that we are doing our part in changing the field to really enhance it and be able to make sure that everyone is served in the best possible way. And last but not least, you are the person who's going to deliver all of the above, right? And you're the person who's going to be care for other people. And so you matter, in fact, quite a bit. And so we want to make sure that from the very beginning, you know how to care for yourself in ways that make you effective and in ways that make your work sustainable over time. So there's lots of activities that happen within classes, some activities that we offer outside of classes, and really that's to help you make self-care a very integrated and just seamless sort of process in your life way before you jump into the field, because who doesn't need it, right? We all need it at all times. The other part that I want to say in terms of what makes us unique is that we have a very strong culture of feedback. So we really want to give you everything that we have in our hands. The idea is that you leave the program with all the knowledge that the faculty has, and it's yours to keep forever. And so for that to happen, we tell you we have a lot of avenues to give you a lot of feedback about how things are going in the program and how to bring you to the next level. But the truth is that we are as committed and as interested in getting your feedback. And I have 2 main reasons for that. The first reason is sort of selfish, because I want to be the best program there is. And of course, for that to happen, I need you to tell me how the program feels to you. And so there are lots of formal and informal avenues when we'll ask you feedback about your experience in the program. And the truth is that the program is also not the same when you enter, when you exit, because you will be the one who transforms it. And that's really, truly, I think, something I'm incredibly grateful to past students for really helping us craft the program that we have, because it's their wisdom often that has allowed that to happen. But we ask for feedback because we want you to get experience in advocating for yourself. And that's because we want you to leave the program with being confident in your voice and in your vision and in your perceptions, so that when you go out in the field, you'll feel confident to advocate and change systems that, as I'm sure you know, still need a lot of change. And so you'll get both confidence and skills in becoming agents of social change once you come out of the program. So lots of feedback going both ways. And we also have a strong focus throughout the program on self-awareness. Again, you are the tool of your practice as a counselor, and the more you know yourself, the more you can allow yourself to give your clients everything that they need, and make sure that you're using your full human self in the best possible way to in their service. All right. So we asked you to do a lot, right? So how do we support you in doing that? And when someone asks for a lot, you have to give a lot, and we feel strongly about that. So there's lots that we give you to thrive and succeed in the program. You're going to receive advising. You're going to have 4, I believe, or 5 advisors. So you're going to have a program advisor. And for those of you whom I have communicated with Carol Lyman already, she's our associate director. She's wonderful. She's the one who's going to be holding an open house in the next week or so. And she's a program advisor. She really guides you through, orient you to the program, helps you with enrollment in classes, crafting a program plan, guiding you through securing practicum and internship. But you also, each one of you will be assigned to a faculty mentor. And that's really the faculty that you'll be working very closely and have advising meetings with quite often, but every semester or every year, or whenever you feel like you want to check in. And that person is really going to guide you through your professional development, help you identify resources and activities that are unique for you, and really help you reach the goals that you have for yourself. And they're really going to follow you step by step throughout the program. You're also going to get in your first semester a peer mentor, so someone more advanced in the program who can just tell you sort of how to navigate, help you answer any question you might have. That could be, where do I get a cup of coffee before my evening class? Or it could be, how do I make the most of that particular faculty or that particular course? And then in your last year, you get an alumna mentor. With this means somebody who just graduated in the last couple of years, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 years, and really they are going to be your liaison to have a little window on what's going to happen after graduation, and give you a sense of how to make the most of those first few steps out of the program. So lots of advising and lots of mentoring. So the other thing we're going to do at the very beginning of the program, we have a day-long so-called orientation, but it's really the beginning of your training, where you're going to create small learning communities, get to know each other with the other peers, and really learn some tools that are going to help you thrive and feel quite confident in your progress in the program. The way we always say is that we are growth-focused, not grade focused. So I think it's sometimes at the undergraduate level, folks are really, grades are really important. And at this point, at the graduate level, no client will ever ask you what you got in the class. So what they want you to be is the best person that you can be. And so as faculty, even though we have to give grades because we have to, the truth is that we really want to just focus on at each step, taking the next step. And that's the most important part. Because we really care about your professional development and your ability to network and create connections that are going to facilitate you obtaining the job that you really want to have. We have recently created a professional development purse. So everybody who's going to matriculate in the master's program is going to be awarded a $500 purse. And that purse can be used for any professional development activity, from workshops to professional trainings to belonging to professional organizations. And your advisor is really going to help you strategize how to maximize the use of that purse, whether it's for conference or research or, again, training, etc. And we really give you, the entire program is based on skills practice. It's going to be a lot of role plays. Your practicum is going to be done early, so you're going to get a taste of what the work is like. And also it's going to be an entire course that you're going to take probably in your second year, dedicated exclusively to learning specific skills and protocols to treat specific diagnoses. So you're going to really get to internship having quite a rich toolbox to bring with you on internship and beyond. And then there are research opportunities. There are 2 things that happen when I mention research opportunities. Some people get really excited, and some people say, oh, my, do I have to do research? So just to be clear, nobody has to do research. But if you're interested in becoming, accessing some managerial position where you might do some program assessment, or whether you're interested in potentially pursuing doctoral programs, this is something you might want to consider. So I'm going to click on this link, and it's going to take you, it's giving me an error. Let me see if I can open it somehow. There it is. So I'm just really taking you to our fantastic website, thanks to our fabulous colleagues in University Relations. And I just want to show you this page, Research Special Projects and Thesis, and just will describe all the things that people have done in our program. So people have done work on bullying, parenting, multicultural competence, mindset, program evaluation, LGBT training, acculturation, suicide, racial socialization. There's an infinite amount of topics extra that you might want to research. And again, it's not mandatory, but the faculty is very open to do that with you, either for credit or not for credit. So it really depends on what might be best for you. And certainly you can ask me more questions. I know I'm going kind of quickly on that, but certainly that opportunity is open to you. So who are we? Who are we? This disembodied voice that is talking to you right now, but also who are our best? Who's in our team? So I think we have what I call a dream team. So I put the pictures of our adjuncts, and then I'm going to go on the website and show you who we are. These are fantastic adjuncts. We have only a handful of folks who work with us outside of the main faculty. They're folks who have been with us for a very long time, and they're just wonderful professionals in the field. Elizabeth Byrne, I'm going to go from top to bottom, works in a agency downtown and has done a tremendous amount of work around addictions and motivational interviewing. She teaches internship for us, and she also trains our students in motivational interviewing, and she has a private practice where she sees clients of all with a variety of concerns, and she specializes in LGBT issues as well. Dr. Monica Campbell owns a fairly large private practice downtown, and she's also a national speaker on the diagnostic manual, the DSM, and teaches psychopathology for us in our program. She's also teaching internship this year. She's taught a few other courses. She's a wonderful, wonderful instructor, beloved by students. Then we have Matt Wexler. He has been with us for over 10 years, and he teaches the assessment course. He's a school psychologist in the Abingdon School District. So everybody is teaching exactly what they practice every day. Dr. Ali Michael, she's a nationally renowned diversity trainer, and she does part of our multicultural labs and multicultural training. Another faculty who's much beloved by the students. They always say their class feels more like a support group than a class, and the students really learn a lot from her. And last but not least, Lois Keller, who is also an LPC like Elizabeth Byrne, and she works for the Children Alliance. She works, she's now the associate director there. She has done trauma work both nationally and internationally for a number of years, and teaches our grief and bereavement course, our group counseling course, and is often an invited speaker. She's absolutely stellar. And then who are we among my disembodied voice? If I can show you who we are. And I apologize, there's one picture missing of a new faculty. So you can see Carol Lyman, who's the associate director. I spoke about her. Dr. Angela Gillum, who's here for the last year, and then she will be retired, unfortunately. She's our senior faculty. Michael Morrow, who's the coordinator of our child and family therapy concentration. Kathy Lee, who coordinates our internship and also has really put much focus in developing the self-care curriculum. And Dr. Lauren Reed will be joining us this fall, and I promise the picture is forthcoming. So log back on in a couple of weeks, and I promise you there'll be a picture there. All of us, I should say, have prior practices. All of us are very active in professional organization, in our research agendas, and we all teach what we do in our outside life in terms of working with clients every day. So none of us is disconnected from the clinical work. And so we go, I see clients on Monday and I teach on Tuesday. And that's just a wonderful translation from what I do into the classroom. And, oops, okay, oopsie. I want to come back here. And then I'm going to show you quickly who our students are. So, and I'm showing them just because you can be inspired by their fantastic profiles, and I'm not going to read through them, but again, in our website, you can see meet our students and meet our reflections. As you read through them, what I want you to see is just be inspired in all the things that you can do and not be intimidated at all. They were just like who you are before starting the program, and they can just inspire you to become the best you can be and to also reach your dreams. And so here you'll find information about what they do and some of the awards they've gotten and what their aspirations are. And then there is a tab on our website about alumni, and really gives you a little window into what our students do after they come to us, from working career counseling to integrating public health issues, to working in schools, to working as a forensic interviewer, and then someone who's graduated and actually was an adjunct in our program afterwards for a little while. So again, take them as a source of inspiration, and just know that you can be your version of something like them, because they were just like you when you started this process. Okay. And I could not leave this presentation without having a bragging corner. So as I hope you can tell from my own enthusiasm for my program, I truly love our program. I love the way it's structured. I love our students. And I would say that our students are what makes us shine. So in the last 5 years alone, and I could tell you what we won before, but just in the last 5 years, we won the PCA, which is the Pennsylvania Counseling Association Outstanding Programming Counselor Education Award. 4 times in the last 5 years, our graduate students, one graduate student each year, has won the Montgomery County Counseling Association. That award is given only to one person in the county every year. So that means that we were the winners 4 out of 5 times. 3 times in 5 years, we won the Pennsylvania Counseling Association Outstanding Graduate Student Award. That again is 1 student per state in the state, and we won 3 out of 5 times. And then a couple of times, about one in the last 5 years, we won the Pennsylvania Psychological Association Graduate Students Community Service Project Award, where students got together, offered something in the community, and submitted it to the organization. So our students do well, our program does well, and I hope that now the best practices, heart and justice comes through. Why we have that focus? We really try to teach you what's most up to date in the field. We give a lot of heart to what we do, but especially we think that the connection between client and counselor is so important, and we are very much committed to social justice and creating change in the world in a way that benefits everybody. So now I hope to hear lots of questions from you. I'm sure that you have them. So I'm going to get out of the PowerPoint. I'm going to stop sharing, and you can see me again. There I am. All right. Okay. So I'm going to open my chat. And, oh, I can see you've already started asking questions. Wonderful. So let me go up and make sure I didn't miss any. So to clarify, we need 48, lots of questions, okay. We need 48 master program credits, not bachelor's, to be LPC. Yes, absolutely. The 48 master's credit, and then you need 12 additional credit at the master's level. Yes, all post-bachelor. You have experience currently? No, you cannot accrue your 3,000 hours of experience until you've completed your 48th credit. But once you've completed your 48th credit, whether you finish the program or not, you can begin using your experience towards your 3,000 hours. But once you learn all this in the program, but there's specific criteria that you have to use. You have to be supervised in specific ways. There has to be a certain number of times a certain numbers of hours a week, but we can guide you through that process. But again, you cannot count any experience prior to your 48th master's credit. How long does it typically take to complete the 48 to 60 credit program? 48 really takes about a couple of years. The 60 takes 3 years. It really depends on how full-time or part-time you are. Most of folks that come to our program like to work somewhat while they come to the program, and so usually it take about 3 years. How many electives are needed in the program? Well, it depends if you're doing 48 or 60. If you're doing a 48 a credit program, you have 5 electives, or maybe you have 6. And then if you have a 60 credit program, it depends if you're already using your electives to complete a concentration, or whether you really want to just have general electives that you're choosing one by one. And again, feel free to ask a follow-up question if I'm not answering your question thoroughly. What prerequisites are needed for admission into the program? Good question. So you need 3 psychology courses at the bachelor level. One should be an intro to psych course with a B or better. And the other 2, we suggest that they are personality psychology and social psychology, but we really will look at your transcript. And as long as you have 3 courses that seem to give you a good background, we'll probably take most courses. How often must a student renew? Oops, I lost it. I think, okay, there it is. How often must a student renew his or her license after receiving it? So it's every 2 years. Every 2 years, all the masters or doctoral level license have a renewal. For the application questions, I know there's a minimum of 250 words, but is there a word limit as well? I would say 250 words I cannot remember. I think we're actually going to put a maximum, but I would say 250 to 400 words is a good, you don't have to write pages and pages, just 2-3 well-crafted paragraphs. It's perfect for our purposes. Overseas studies, good question. So some of our students take as electives, for example, some of the programs offered by the IPCR department in various places across the globe, and some of them have a counseling focus. So there will be opportunities. You don't have to, but as you know, Arcadia is well known for study abroad, so those opportunities are absolutely open to our graduate students. And again, we craft that on a more individual level as we work with students. How many credits are each class worth, and how many classes are typically taken at once for full-time students? Each class is 3 credits. For our graduate program, each class is 3 credits. And typically students take, I want to say, between 2 and 3 classes. Very few students go up to 4, only if they absolutely have to and they don't work. 2 to 3 classes is manageable even if you have a part-time work. And actually with 2, you probably can have a full-time work. So again, when you're going to sit with the Associate Director, Carol Lyman, to craft your program plan, you're really going to craft a plan that fits your lifestyles. We don't squeeze you into the program. We kind of try to squeeze a program into what makes sense for you. Some examples of internship opportunities typically available to Arcadia students. There is a gamut, and of course now I wish that I had either Carol Lyman or some of fantastic internship faculty to answer your question, because they could tell you in detail about all the internship available. There is a tab on our website that speaks about our practicum and internship opportunities that has some examples, but they really span the gamut. Usually is mental health agencies, whether it's crisis centers or outpatient mental health centers. And depending on your concentration, we really steer you to find a practicum or internship experience that fits the concentration that you're having. So we did a trauma experience, a child and family experience, or you can be broadly in a counseling center at a college. There are very many settings where students work. Can we get your email one more time? Of course. I am absolutely one of the best contacts for you together with Carol Lyman. I'm going to type my email here. And I'm also going to give you Carol Lyman email. And you may ask both or either of us any follow-up question that you have. Okay. If someone receives their license in PA, what do they need to do to practice out of state? Oh, good question. There is no reciprocity among any states. However, we do help students investigate laws in various states and help you make sure that you meet those requirements. The sooner you know, the better, because then you can craft your program around what another state requires. I would say if you're considering other states, definitely go for a 60-credit degree, because it's more likely to transfer. Very few states are left that allow a 40-credit degree. But again, we work individually with students to help you brainstorm what you might need, how you might meet other states' requirements. You're going to learn very specifically and very in depth the Pennsylvania laws. That's helpful because it's going to help you be able to interpret and decipher other states' laws. And again, we try to sit down with students and really guide them through that process. Can admission decision be given contingent upon completing prerequisites? Sometimes we do that, depending on how far along the person has gone into completing or planning to complete those prerequisites. So it's something that we can talk on an individual basis and see how far that the application versus completing the requisites, how far off from each other they are. The scholarship given for a trauma counseling program or any financial aid, there is financial aid. I would say that is a question for the financial aid office, and maybe Erin Cardon or Tiffany Grant can send us some information, and maybe you can follow up with them about how to contact the financial aid office. We don't have a scholarship per se, but we do have this $500 professional development purse that every matriculated student is awarded. My undergrad is in education. I can only remember taking intro to psych. What happened if I didn't take 3 courses in psych? That is okay. First of all, we'll look at your transcript, and it's really, you're talking to the person who's going to look at your transcript. So, and I'm going to see if there's anything that, even though it's not called psych, might in fact cover the prerequisites. And if not, we can talk to you about having really non-onerous ways of completing. There could be even online courses through community colleges, or non-online courses, but accelerated courses, something that would be, fairly straightforward for you to accrue a certain amount of undergraduate experience, just so that you can really have the basis of knowledge that you need to thrive and succeed in the graduate program. But we can work with you. Again, we look at your transcripts, see if there is anything that we can already use, and then we take it from there. How many core classes does Arcadian System Psychology grad students taking? So the core courses, I believe for the 48 credit program, I think it's about 45 credits. Now, the internship is 12 credits in itself. So I don't remember the number of classes. I believe it's 11 classes before you get to internship. And most of them are straightforwardly meeting the licensing requirements, and some of them are complementary. For example, the concepts of mental health, mental illness is about learning to diagnose. And so that's a very important course, and we have a couple of courses that fill the counseling requirement in terms of learning real counseling, one-on-one, or basic counseling skills. So if you look on our website under concentrations, or if you look at a mental health counseling concentration is the 48 degree, you'll see exactly what the core courses are, and you can see that the same across any concentration. Oh, good question also. How many students are in the program each year? Class size, good question. So class size, I would say is about 15. Sometimes it's smaller. Like our internship courses are about 6 or 7 students. That's because that really is a very small supervision course. Our class size, it could be usually between 10 and 15, closer to 15. And then some of the later courses, more advanced courses, could be a little bit smaller, like more maybe 10 to 12. So we are a small program by design, and that's because we do so much skills training and so much mentoring and advising that it's really important that we are able to get to know our students really well and really work with our students one-on-one quite a bit, both in classroom and outside of the classroom. Class time during the day. So that's a great question too. We are completely evening program. So our classes go either from 4:30 to 7:10 or 7:20 p.m. to 10 p.m. So 4:30 to 7:10 or 7:20 to 10 p.m. They're offered Monday through Thursday, so there are no classes on Friday. On occasion, we offer an afternoon class, but we never offer it unless we have a second section in the evening. So we're really designed with the working professional in mind. And most of any kind of activities required for the program also is in the evening. Because we're a small program, we'll say the one drawback of being a small program, each semester we don't usually offer multiple sections of the same course. We often offer one section of the course each semester, so some flexibility. But whenever that course is scheduled, and if you are slated to take it, that's the time that course is scheduled. And that's because, again, we are a small program. Oh, difference between state licenses and national certification. It really depends on the profession. So for mental health counselors, there is no certification, it's a licensure. Sometimes you can take a certificate or a certification that sort of it's a quality assurance mark. It's an extra proof that you've completed some training or that you've completed a quality program, and so it makes you look good. But what you need to practice is a license. So at the master's level, what you need to practice is it's an actual license. Oops, where am I? When are the application due? Starting fall 18, spring 19. So September 15 is the deadline application for spring, to start in the spring, and January 15 is a deadline application to start in the fall. For starting, fall 18. So starting fall 18, I was talking to you about this year. Fall 18, the deadline is January 15, and for spring 19, the deadline is next September 15. Will students be able to sit for dual LPC MFT licensure if they do the certificate child? No, they don't. No. I think there is one program, I believe it's Holy Family, that has both, but it's 30 additional credits to get the MFT. Now, they are equivalent licenses, so I would really, before you go for both, I will really try to think about whether you need them both. They're equivalent licenses, and there's some overlapping training, but they're two very different specialties. If you get the LPC with the child and family therapy, in my view, you do get the best of both worlds without going for almost another degree. But otherwise, think really about what kind of training you want. Look at the two programs. We don't have an MFT, but look at programs who give an LPC and offer MFT training and see which one of those coursework fits you best. LPC is more generalist LPC, clinical training. MFT is very much focused on systems theory and working with families in family context. Oh, Erin already answered the application. Thank you very much. Current cost per credit hour. I look at that. Erin already answered. Thank you so much. I'm looking at the question from Robert Pina about the MPH program. So concerning dual degree program, how many additional credits? I believe the dual degree program with MPH, I should have it in the top of my head, is between 72 or 76 credits. If you look online, you'll see exactly the number of credits for the dual degree program. So for, the two programs have some overlap, which allows you to do both programs with less credits than it would take to do the two programs separately. Also, you mentioned that students do not need to choose a concentration prior to entering the program. That has remained the case for students prospective interested in one or dual degree program. Yes, ideally you will start both of them at the same time. What you want to keep in mind for the dual degree program is that you're really seeking admission separately. You have to be admitted to both programs separately, and then you will know, of course, that you're admitted to both, because we are coordinated through Tiffany, and Erin coordinates us, and then you'll access the program plan specific for program folks that do the dual degree, and then you'll know sort of how you'll be advised very closely as to what classes to take and how to complete that. However, I would say don't wait too long to decide, because the beauty of the dual degree program is that you're doing them side by side, so they inform each other. So you don't want to sort of finish one and then start the other. It's, even though you could theoretically, I don't think you get the most out of the experience that way, but certainly folks have done it. Online classes. We used to have a few. Students were not very fond of them. We have some online components to some of our classes, which sort of streamlines how much folks have to be on campus, but also gives them a little bit of an experience of functioning online, which our profession is beginning to do. But we are definitely mostly a face-to-face program. So all our classes are face-to-face, and that's especially our clinical ones when there are skills training involved. They're absolutely face-to-face. Good questions, everybody. If you get accepted to the program, can you defer? Absolutely. We do have folks that defer on occasion, and then they come 6 months later or a year later. It's definitely possible. Yes. I think someone also asked sort of what courses are really unique in our program. I should tell you that we have some training rooms with two-way mirrors. So we do some training. It's not live, it's mock interviews, but we do them through being able to have really the experience of being in a quasi-counseling setting. And that's, I think, it's a helpful experience for folks. And also we have 3 courses that have very very specific training and specific protocols that you're going to use with clients that teach you how to go from the first session to the last one in a very systematic way. Our group counseling course also is fairly unique. It involves some breakout groups where you actually experience some counseling dynamics, because there are counselors actually that run small groups and have you taste what it's like to be a client in a counseling context. Of course, you're also a student, but it's that process. And I would say that the other really unique course is evidence-based treatments of trauma, where you're going to take some training that is sort of the official training for certain treatment protocols for trauma, and you really come out being able to implement full treatment protocols with trauma clients. And I think that's fairly unique in terms of what we offer. Just to clarify, your integrated curriculum is for every student, correct? Absolutely. We don't have to choose a specific one. No. If you're graduating from our program, you're going to be taking the self-care, you're going to be taking the evidence-based practices, you're going to take the multicultural, and you're going to be accessing the career development curriculum. All of them span the program. There's no way for you to miss them, for sure. Very thoughtful questions, everybody. Wonderful. Any other questions? We have a few minutes if we need them. Anybody who wants to ask a question live, you can, since, oh, thanks for your time. Oh, thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you all for coming. I'll stay on by for the next couple of minutes just to make sure that nobody has any questions. Lovely to have you online, and feel free to email us and follow up. We look forward to hearing from you. For the application fee, I'll let either Erin or Tiffany answer that question. Beautiful. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Tiffany. You're welcome. Oh, I'm so glad. So I noticed on the elective slide, there was a mediation course. Is there only one? There's actually a number of mediation-like courses offered by IPCR, and these are some of the courses that are actually part of our electives. And so you may absolutely look at some of what we have, and I can tell you more which ones they are. And we're actually potentially developing concentration in mediation as well, but I can tell you more about it.
Okay.
I'm going to hang on right until 5, so ask away. Oh, good. I'm glad it was helpful. Enjoy this beautiful day. Looks like a little sunshine after much rain. Or my option to completing a master's in ABA after certificate. I think what you're asking, and I'm not sure, is whether you can actually complete the requirements for BCBA. So the ABA certificate gives you most of your core courses around ABA, but you don't need a separate master's in ABA. What you want to do is I'll put you in touch with the person who's in charge of the ABA process. She actually comes and speaks to our students twice a year, and she really tells you exactly what you need to do to complete the requirements for BCBA. There's a strong overlap. You don't need that much more, but it's definitely something a little bit separate that you would have to do to reach that certification. And I think I'm answering your question, but let me know. Let me know if I'm not. It's interesting. You're asking whether it would be good to change schools for graduate schools. I am biased. So we have a number of students who come from Arcadia, and I love them. And so I welcome you to consider our program. It's really, I think, about choose a program that you think has a feel for you and has a setting where you thrive. This is a big investment, both time and money. And so don't think about the school. Think about a place that's going to make you the best you that you can become, that feels comfortable, a place where you think you can learn, a place that you think is going to give you the support that you need to thrive. Think about that. I think that's probably, you're going to pick the right program once you feel at home there. That's really what you want. At this point, I don't see any contradiction one way or another. I hope that helps. And feel free to ask follow-up questions if needed. So it's 5 o'clock. I am more than happy to hang out for a couple more minutes. I see there are still about 6, 7 people online. If you want to ask more questions, feel free. Otherwise, it was such a delight to have you online. Thank you for your fantastic questions. And again, feel free to follow up as needed. Latest information for ABA. This is, let me just hold on one second. I'll be right there. Let me just get her email. And I'm sure that Tiffany and Erin can also connect you to her. So her email, her name is Sarah Waldoff. Let me see if I can, there it is. Let me see if I can put it here. Oh, you beat me. Awesome. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Tiffany. That's great. You too. Enjoy your week as well. All right. Sure. No more questions? Okay. I think we might be good then. All right. It's a little bit past 5 and I don't see any more questions. I don't want to rush anybody though. I'm going to wait 30 more seconds to make sure everybody has had a chance to ask a question. All right. Well, have a fabulous end of the day, and I hope to hear from you soon if you have any follow-up questions. All right. Bye.